Hello, fellow preppers and survival enthusiasts. This is SurvivalScope, your trusted source for preparedness information and survival strategies. Today, we're tackling a serious and timely topic: the escalating conflict in Ukraine, Russia's actions, and the recent involvement of North Korea. More importantly, we'll discuss how these events could impact Americans and what you should be doing right now to prepare. Let's start with a quick overview of the situation. The conflict between Russia and Ukraine has been ongoing since 2014, but it dramatically escalated in February 2022 when Russia launched a full-scale invasion. Now, in a concerning development, North Korea has reportedly sent troops to Russia for training, potentially to join the conflict in Ukraine. This isn't just a distant war anymore. The involvement of North Korea signals a dangerous expansion of the conflict, one that could have far-reaching consequences for global stability and, yes, even for us here in America. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. This is happening on the other side of the world. How does it affect me? Well, in our interconnected world, a conflict of this scale can have ripple effects that touch every corner of the globe. And as preppers, it's our job to stay ahead of the curve, to anticipate potential threats, and to be ready for whatever might come our way. So let's break down the potential dangers this escalating conflict poses to Americans, and then we'll get into what you can do to be prepared. Potential danger number 1: economic impacts. The first and most immediate impact many Americans might feel is economic. Here's what we're looking at: market volatility. Global markets don't like uncertainty, and this conflict is creating plenty of it. We could see significant swings in stock markets, potentially affecting retirement savings and investments. Rising energy prices. Russia is a major oil and gas exporter. Disruptions to this supply could drive up energy prices worldwide. This means higher gas prices at the pump and increased heating costs for American households. Food price increases. Ukraine is often called the breadbasket of Europe due to its significant grain exports. Disruptions to these exports could lead to global food price increases, affecting everything from bread to livestock feed. Supply chain disruptions. The conflict has already disrupted global supply chains. With North Korea's involvement, we could see further complications, especially if the conflict impacts South Korea, a major producer of semiconductors and other tech components. Potential danger number 2: cybersecurity threats. As tensions rise, so does the risk of cyber attacks. Russia has a history of using cyber warfare, and an escalation could lead to attacks on critical infrastructure. Power grids, water systems, and transportation networks could be targeted. Financial system disruptions are another concern, with banks and financial institutions potentially facing increased cyber threats. We could also see a surge in disinformation campaigns, with fake news and propaganda aimed at sowing confusion and division. On a more personal level, individual Americans might be at higher risk of having their personal information compromised. Potential danger number 3: geopolitical instability. The involvement of North Korea in this conflict represents a significant shift in global alliances. This could lead to increased global tensions, with a new Cold War dynamic emerging, showing clear divisions between Western allies and a Russia-China-North Korea axis. There's the potential for wider conflict, as the situation could spread beyond Ukraine's borders, possibly drawing in NATO countries and escalating to a broader European or even global conflict. This could also strain international alliances, with the U.S. potentially being called upon to increase its support for NATO and other allies, stretching our resources and commitments. Additionally, we might see shifts in global trade, with new trade barriers and alliances forming, impacting the availability and price of goods in the U.S. Potential danger number 4: domestic effects. Even if the conflict remains geographically distant, it could have significant effects here at home. Political divisions could deepen over the question of how much the U.S. should be involved. Social unrest might arise, with protests and counter-protests related to U.S. involvement or non-involvement in the conflict. We could see increased military deployments, with more U.S. troops being sent to Europe, affecting military families and communities. If the conflict expands, we might see an increase in refugees seeking safety in the U.S., potentially straining resources in some communities. Now, I know this all sounds pretty grim, but remember, as preppers, our job isn't to panic, it's to prepare. So let's talk about what you can do right now to get ready for these potential challenges. Preparedness. Step number 1. Financial readiness. Your first line of defense is your financial preparedness. Here's what you should be doing. Build an emergency fund. Aim for at least 3 to 6 months of living expenses in easily accessible savings. In times of economic uncertainty, cash is king. Diversify your investments. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Spread your investments across different sectors and asset classes to minimize risk. Consider precious metals. Gold and silver have historically been seen as safe havens during times of geopolitical instability. Consider allocating a small portion of your portfolio to these. Pay down debt. High-interest debt can be a major liability during economic downturns. Focus on paying off credit cards and other high-interest loans. Review your insurance. Make sure you have adequate health, life, and property insurance to protect against unexpected events. Preparedness step number 2, supply readiness. Next, let's talk about your physical preparations, food and water. Build up a 30-day supply of non-perishable food and water. Think rice, beans, canned goods, and bottled water. Don't forget a manual can opener. Medications. Ensure you have at least a 30-day supply of any essential medications. Talk to your doctor about getting an emergency supply. Energy backup. Consider investing in a generator or solar panels with a battery backup. At minimum, have flashlights, batteries, and emergency candles on hand. First aid kit. Make sure you have a well-stocked first aid kit and the knowledge to use it. Consider taking a first aid course if you haven't already. Communication tools. Have a battery-powered or hand-crank radio to stay informed during power outages. Consider a satellite phone or ham radio for emergency communication. Preparedness. Step number 3. Stay informed. In times of crisis, information is crucial. Here's how to stay informed. Diversify your news sources. Don't rely on just one news outlet. Get your information from a variety of reputable sources, both domestic and international. Be wary of misinformation. In the age of social media, false information can spread quickly. Always fact-check before sharing news, especially during times of crisis. Follow official channels. Keep an eye on official government communications, especially from the State Department and Department of Homeland Security. Learn to spot propaganda. Be critical of information that seems designed to provoke an emotional response rather than inform. Stay updated on local news. Sometimes the most important information for your immediate safety will come from local sources. Preparedness step number 4. Enhance personal security. As tensions rise, it's important to think about your personal and family security. Home security. Review and upgrade your home security measures. This might include reinforcing doors and windows, installing security cameras, or considering a home security system. Cybersecurity. Use strong, unique passwords for all your accounts. Consider using a password manager. Keep your software and operating systems up to date, and be cautious about clicking on links or downloading attachments from unknown sources. Personal information. Be extra vigilant about protecting your personal information. Be wary of phishing attempts or scams that might increase during times of crisis. Self-defense. Consider taking a self-defense class. Knowledge of basic self-defense techniques can increase your confidence and preparedness. Emergency plan. Develop and practice a family emergency plan. This should include meeting points, communication strategies, and evacuation routes. Preparedness. Step number 5, community involvement. Remember, in times of crisis, your community can be your greatest resource. Know your neighbors. Build relationships with your neighbors now. In a crisis, you may need to rely on each other. Join local groups. Consider joining or starting a local preparedness group. These can be great sources of information and support. Participate in community emergency response. Many communities have community emergency response teams, also known as CERT. Consider joining one to learn valuable skills and contribute to your community's resilience. Support local businesses. A strong local economy can better weather global economic shocks. Support your local businesses when possible. Volunteer. Consider volunteering with local organizations that support emergency preparedness or disaster relief. This can help build community resilience and provide you with valuable skills and connections. Now, I want to emphasize something important. The goal of all this preparation isn't to scare you or to suggest that disaster is imminent. The truth is, we don't know exactly how this conflict will unfold or what its impacts will be. But as the old saying goes, hope for the best, prepare for the worst. By taking these steps, you're not just preparing for one specific scenario. You're building overall resilience, the ability to weather whatever challenges life might throw your way, whether that's a global conflict, a natural disaster, or a personal emergency. Remember, preparedness is a journey, not a destination. Start where you are, do what you can, and keep improving over time. Every small step you take towards preparedness makes you and your community stronger and more resilient. Before we wrap up, I want to remind you all to approach this situation with a calm and rational mindset. Yes, the world can be a scary place sometimes, but panic never helped anyone. Stay informed, stay prepared, but also remember to live your life and enjoy the present. If you found this video helpful, please give it a like and share it with your friends and family. Don't forget to subscribe to SurvivalScope for more preparedness tips and strategies. And remember, in the comments below, let us know what steps you're taking to prepare or if you have any questions. Until next time, stay safe, stay prepared, and keep surviving. This is SurvivalScope signing off.